Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Jake.
We're from Boston, and we're the founders of Rocketbook. Fill it, scan it, erase it, and repeat. Hey, I'm Joe.
I'm Jake.
We're the co-founders of Rocketbook, and 5 years ago, we filmed Shark Tank. We didn't get a deal, but now we're about to watch Shark Tank again 5 years later, and guess what? Jake has never seen it before.
It's again for you. It's the first time for me. Begrudgingly, I might add.
Why have you never watched this episode?
There's a lot of reasons I've never watched this episode. For one, I know how it ends. I was there, so it's the ultimate spoiler. So never really any need.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just don't like the way I look under production lights. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what my fat face looks like under the production lights at Shark Tank. So thank you for making me watch it.
I think you look great.
Thank you for saying that. We'll see. I'll be the judge of that.
I think we haven't aged a bit.
Yeah. And by the way, we also got laughed off of Shark Tank, so I'm surprised that anyone wants to rewatch it at Rocketbook. But again, so happy to be here.
I think you'll be surprised about how it was edited, and it was edited in a way that I was pretty pleased with. But I won't spoil the surprise for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Again, I do know how it ends. So I remember I gave you a big hug right before we walked out there. I said, let's do this. And we went out there and now
let's do this, man. Let's do this.
Let's go. Good thing we got fully vaccinated. All right, ready?
Let's do this.
Oh, God. Just give me a second. I'm ready.
Deep breath.
So far, so good.
No, wait a sec. Pause this.
Yeah.
All right. What people think here is that this is the first time we see the sharks, right? But what was the actual setup here?
Yeah, so what they do is before you come out and actually present to the sharks, you practice essentially walking down that hallway, and then you stand in front of the sharks.
Hit your mark, practice that.
And you just do this.
Yeah, and you also are allowed then to go look at your stand where your product is. Remember, and make sure it's all set up right. And while we were doing that, I remember, Cuban's on his phone kind of looking at us sitting there. Kevin is standing up, giving me a death stare, obviously trying to intimidate me. It was frightening, and I was just like, hello. And we're in orange astronaut outfits, and they're probably like Googling what this thing is before, but that's the first time. We've never spoken to them or had any contact with them before that. And then they tell us to go back, stand, and do the grand entrance that you're about to see.
Yes, and here it is, and a grand entrance it is.
The tank is a futuristic version of a common product.
There he is staring at me.
Yeah.
We haven't aged a bit.
Okay, so it was right around the time that Joe was convincing me to do Shark Tank, and we were going to go there and pitch the product. But we said, hey, if we're going to do this, let's make sure we get on air. And that's how we came up with the idea to both be wearing astronaut suits, just to make as big a splash as possible, make it as ridiculous as possible, because we know what makes good TV. And we just knew that
we never threw them out.
Yeah. Actually, this is a real one right here, an actual artifact. All right, ready?
I'm Joe. And I'm Jake. Our company is Rocket.
I'm holding my Rocketbook Wave upside down, which I tortured myself about for years after this. Because people who watched the episode was like, yeah, it's good. You're holding your book upside down. So I'm already embarrassed. Thank you.
Book, and we're seeking $400,000 for 10%. And we make notebooks from the future. It doesn't matter whether you're a student or a shark. We just can't let go of pen and paper. It's our most natural form of expression. But meanwhile, the rest of our lives are digital and accessible across any device. That's why we created Rocketbook.
I'm just taking it in. This is,
great pitch.
Yeah.
$4 million valuation. They would have 15 or 20x their money.
Yeah. And this reminds me that not only the demo video, but also our astronaut suits and everything, we had to remove all the logos. I think they got permission to use these logos, but we had to strip everything off and just come up with specialized assets, for this, because
we had to get special permission from Evernote and Google, which we were able to get, but we couldn't get it for many of the other cloud services in time. So we had to edit this to remove those logos.
With the Rocketbook app, to instantly blast those notes to popular.
We practice every little bit. Yeah. I was like, no, you want to do it's like blasting out the rocket, get the arc right. Yeah.
Organized, for you. At the bottom of each Rocketbook page are 7 symbols, and you decide what they do. So Mark, maybe use that diamond symbol so that those notes go to your startup pitch folder inside of Google Docs.
Lori?
Maybe Lori?
See,
How about
I
you use
see,
the
you
star
see how
symbol?
Mark Cuban's intrigued? I remember he was the one who got the technology the whole time better.
He got it. We'll get into the questions. What they don't show is that what I really respected about Mark was, of all the sharks, he was the only one who asked a very logical chain of questions that then hit on a weakness of ours.
Yep.
And then he said, I'm out.
Yep.
They didn't really show that. I really respected the way he got to laughing us off of Shark Tank.
I remember that, yeah, because he was asking technical questions about the digital app.
Right.
And I bet, I haven't seen the episode yet, but I bet if we were back there
light
with
on data.
with our technology today,
Oh,
he would have
man.
been in.
Our
because
retention was much lower,
Yeah.
all of that. He got down into the app data, and we either didn't have some of the data or it was kind of weak compared to today. He'd be all in today.
None of that's in there?
Hindsight is 2020. Well, I don't think so. We'll see.
So when you mark that, those notes go right to your assistant's email.
Now that your notes are safe in all your favorite cloud services, you really don't need this hard copy anymore, which is why we designed our first notebook, the Rocketbook Wave, to be reusable.
That's right. You
Intriguing.
make
Oh,
your
wow.
entire notebook contents disappear. For this, I'm gonna need an assistant. Robert, if you will.
Always ask
don't
Robert.
make
He's
me
the
easier.
nice one.
He is the nice one, and also, he's a pro.
Yeah,
right.
he's
The
a
guy's
pro.
a total pro.
He wants you to succeed. If you ask
yeah.
Kevin, who knows what
Oh,
mayhem
he's gonna try to make you look stupid. But I remember Robert was so nice when he came up with play this. But
Now remember, the producers promised us that we'd be able to do the demo without any questions, without anything like that. But of course, they jumped in and asked a ton of questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll show it here.
right.
Beautiful work, Robert.
And actually, I remember, I believe they wanted us to just do everything fluid, which makes sense. But there was some operational issue with the demo where we had to redo something. I forget if we didn't look at the page number or something like that. But Robert was a sweetheart about it. He's like, come on, let's
did.
do it again. And the
Yeah,
producer's
that's
like,
right.
okay,
I forgot
yeah,
about
Robert,
that.
all right, sure,
I forgot about that, yeah.
And so he was kind of leading the charge to make us look good. He
Yeah,
wanted the demo
somebody
to
in the
go-
production said, hey, we didn't see
Yeah.
this or something on the camera. It's like,
Yeah.
let's just do it again.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, Robert, check this out.
They had to blur out the codes, the QR codes.
Yeah.
We can make these notes reappear.
Oh, cool.
Was it? I can't.
Okay, for this part.
Some other company had a QR code that went
Yeah.
to a website,
Ah.
and they got a bunch of traffic, and they didn't want
I see.
anyone to get away with that ever again. The rocket reset chamber,
You know,
classic move.
It's like, I know. It's the one thing
Go
I,
down in
it's
notebook
the-
history.
It's the one thing I miss about having the Rocketbook Wave be our flagship product was the reveal of the rocket reset chamber.
Magic.
Could pull the sheet off. We did
did
that
it
for
3 presentations.
Launch Festival,
Demo
Techstars.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This. I mean, it's just the reveal of the microwave, man. Nothing
The
gets
first
like that.
time we did that was on stage at Launch Festival, launching the Kickstarter campaign. I'm like in a suit, not an astronaut suit, and you went with the lab coat. It
Yeah.
was just classic.
Still had
move.
sunglasses though.
Yeah, still sunglasses.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let us wear sunglasses on here.
Okay, and so before we get into the demo, because I'm sure we'll show it here in a second, but I remember, so the whole thing with the Rocketbook Wave is that you have to follow the directions. And so it's all about, using the mug of water.
Yeah.
We debated whether we should have the mug of water, but you really need it to read.
Yeah, we were afraid that if we did it on TV, it would take up too much time. Everyone would get frustrated.
Yeah.
Let's see how it went.
It's from the future.
And Robert, you're gonna microwave your notebook here. And Commander Epstein is gonna give you a little mug of water placed right on the circles on the cover.
Okay.
Let's close it up.
Wait, you really have to put a mug of water on there?
You really do. That's an important part of controlling the heating process. So
Barbara is already making that
Yeah.
face
Oh.
that she will continue to make the whole episode and just bust our chops.
I'll get back to the whole barber thing in a second. So,
have a seat. I'll hand out samples and I'll explain to you the process.
The only reason I'm microwaving this book is to erase it so I don't have to buy a new one. What's the matter with you guys? Don't you want to sell a second book to everybody?
Oh, it's so great. It's like,
to this day, I can't understand that argument. And I think...
but that's the definition of a disruptive item that changes the value proposition entirely and kills the incumbents on their current business model and their margin and comes in there and crushes them. And he's criticizing the fact that we're giving too much value to the customer.
And you say that, and like that's the complicated answer that we had to try to go into, but the whole thing's ridiculous because if we showed up there with silverware, do you think it would have been like a reusable fork?
No,
Why didn't you just use plastic and
If we
everyone
showed
just
up-
use,
If he showed up with Uber, he'd be like, "Get out of there! Get out of here! No one's gonna. You should get a taxi medallion."
It's crazy. I never understood that. I was actually surprised to hear that argument from him because
Yeah.
it's just a very unsophisticated argument against a disruptive product. Why don't you just sell people more and more and rip them off and destroy the environment? It's like, what? What are you talking about?
Well, thanks for being
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
No, thank you too.
Yeah.
Why would I want to erase it? Why wouldn't I want to make them throw it out or burn it and buy another
Why wouldn't I
one?
squeeze sense out of people and force them to go to
He
the store?
is the Mr. Burns of the Shark Tank panel.
5,000 of these. So you
Have you really?
We have.
What are you selling, a Martian?
I re-
People love it. It's
It-
fun.
At that moment, they
remember-
cut out.
yeah.
Somebody said, "Oh, we just started to take you seriously."
Yeah.
I think Lori said that. They cut that out. Another thing that they cut out. Remember, I don't know if it was right here. I think it might have been a little bit more toward the end. Kevin went so far as he said this. Maybe he says this all the time and they cut it out, but he said, "This is why I love Shark Tank, because not only is this the most ridiculous product that's ever been on the tank, I think it's the most ridiculous product I've ever seen in my life."
That's a great ad. That's a great
I know.
ad.
I wish.
Yeah.
Why did they have to cut that? I would have taken that all day.
I'm glad we paused here because this is what I'm saying. Look at the size of my head. Look how big my head looks, right? And my only solace is that Mark Cuban's head is also really big. And so I wonder, next time they show Cuban, I just want to get a head comparison.
How much do they cost?
Thank you. This is the
Oh
important
my
part.
God. Look at my smile. I'm just trying to smile. I look so fake.
Yeah.
What? How much do they sell?
We are taking you way more seriously.
Oh, there you go.
They did say
Hey,
that.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
Did you actually prove it erased my page?
Let's
Oh yeah, we were
It did.
interrupted so
Yeah.
much we
Yeah.
forgot about the demo.
Yep.
Oh.
It did.
You could have opened it up to any page at that point.
I could have, yeah, you're right.
But it did erase.
But that actually was the page.
And
It
I
was
just
true.
lost
wait,
the
wait,
sale because the guy doesn't have to buy it again.
But this is perfect. This was magic, right? The demo went great. It blew their mind. Like, they were amazed. They're like, whoa!
Yeah, they
Of course, Kevin kind of had to ruin it a little bit, but I'll take his criticism. He criticized us in front of customers, telling all of our customers that we provide them way too much value.
Right.
That's a great advertisement.
It was, and they were all wowed by the technology,
Yes.
right? And so it was a great. The
It
demo
is
went
magic.
great, and you gotta realize, trying to do a demo like this live on the air or being recorded live,
How much can go wrong?
Oh my God, we were just terrified. We would just practice it over and over and over and over again. And if you saw there, we had the microwave pre-programmed to like the exact number of seconds that we
Yes.
knew would erase it. So we just
Well, wait,
labored
before
over
you
it.
move it, we got
Yeah.
a good edit job on this. I think they made us look well. You'll tell me if you think it when we're done. But another thing is, remember, we came with, I think, 50 Rocketbooks, and we gave one to everyone on the staff.
Yep.
Right, and see how there's on the display up there's a picture of a rocket, and it says Rocketbook exclamation
Yeah.
point. Neither you and I can draw. One of the production assistants who, can draw just did us a solid favor and like wrote and made a nice illustration for us. It was
Yeah.
really cool of them.
That was cool. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And we had a suitcase full of Rocketbooks.
Yeah.
because it's awesome. And actually,
Wait a second, go back a second. We gotta hear that question again.
come for the we're not losing too many sales
Why are people buying this?
because it's awesome.
I'm so proud of that. I couldn't think of a good. I just said because it's awesome.
It's kind of true. It is awesome.
Microwavability, they're attracted to that, but they stick around for the rocket system.
Okay, guys, any iPad now with a pen can do this right to the cloud.
That's true.
I
But
have
it's
a
another,
notepad.
it's another
And-
gadget
and
to
he's
lose.
sitting
It's
there
another
with a
battery to
pen.
I
charge.
get it.
We want
and
some-
Yeah, that's true. Actually, and that was probably one of the few questions that was like written down on our cards,
Yep.
and we had an answer to it, right?
It's on here.
It's
somewhere.
probably on there
Yeah.
somewhere. Why wouldn't you just use an iPad?
I'm just trying to wrap my head around nuking the book.
I love the gimmick. It works. What,
Well,
what
wait, I
makes
have
it
two
work? Let me
questions.
ask. What's the science
Sure,
that makes
so
it work?
There's a lot of
Oh wait, there's a little
engineering.
interrupting going on here, right? But it looks like, and it looks like on all these episodes of Shark Tank that they ask you a question, you answer it, somebody else asks a question, and then there's a little interrupting. It wasn't like that. Through I don't know if it's the magic of isolated microphones and isolated cameras, etc.
It's total
It was
chaos.
chaos. And I think that's the way it is for everybody. There were times where, you know, Lori was asking me a question, I'm answering it while you're getting a question asked by like Kevin. Meanwhile, Barbara at the same time is going like, "Yoo-hoo, I'm trying to get a question in here," and just trying to finish your sentence before you get cut off was incredibly hard. And I remember when we walked out of there, we could not talk.
Oh my God.
Our brains, we were in that room for how long?
An hour and 15 maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I remember we had our cards, and we even had this is probably the wrong way to prepare, but we had the questions. I'm like, if they ask that question, you answer. But then Joe would be answering a question, and there has to be a question to myself.
That's right. There were questions I was supposed to answer, but like you didn't. It was just chaos. Yeah.
Oh no, ask him. Oh boy, it's getting uncomfortable. Let's do this.
That has gone into the construction of a microwave-safe notebook, and we have patents pending.
What does the water do to
So
it?
the water absorbs a lot of the microwave energy, and it slows down the heating process.
This is the funniest, wackiest, most ridiculous thing I've heard in a long time.
Brilliant.
That's great. Thank you, Mark. Mark is the best.
It's a great gimmick. And 2 to 3 years from now, I think people will get tired of it. So I'm out.
All right. It's just
All right. There's Barbara making one of the worst lack of investment decisions of her life. Could have 20 extra money.
Yeah, I mean, her background's in real estate. I'm just
If
not
it's
that
if
surprised
it's not
that she wasn't
if
into
it's yeah
a
if it's not
reusable notebook.
cupcakes or something.
Yeah.
I don't get it. She's like proud of saying she doesn't get things. It seems
Yeah.
sometimes she likes to play that role of not getting newfangled things. I think.
Right. It was not a surprise.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't get the shtick. I mean, I applaud the sales you've had, but I'm amazed that
There's Mark. He's thinking. He's actually interested. He is not out yet. He's about to ask us a series of questions.
And I think Robert, he's a little bit more adventurous, but I never got the impression this was up his alley anyway, right? He doesn't really do the zany products. He likes more like purely utilitarian stuff.
Well, we've met so many people like him through the years, through like Techstars, right? And every single investor we had meetings with tons of investors. They couldn't quite get. Are you a stationary company, a physical product company, or a digital company? And this microwave thing, this is cool, but weird. What do I make of this? So they didn't have like a filing cabinet in their brain to put us in.
That's a great point. Yeah, people always want to put startups into categories, right? Notebook companies always thought we were software companies, and software companies always thought we were notebook companies, and venture capitalists didn't know what to make of us, and the sharks. Obviously,
but hey, man! Eventually, BIC came along and they made sense of us. Right?
They sure did.
The sales data and the profits and the customer excitement was just everything.
Yeah, it just goes to show you don't have to fit neatly into a category.
Make your own category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we channeled that energy into our marketing and our brand. It's one of the reasons that we just said screw it and threw on rocket suits and just.
Why not be a content company too?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
you've sold as much as you have, and I think you've got other sharks that are interested. I don't see it. I'm out.
Thank you for that.
I was almost relieved when one went out.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're in a pressure cooker, and you want to come out of there maybe with a deal, but you kind of just want to get out of there. It was one of the most intense experiences I think of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to realize that. I mean, it is somewhat in order, right? So people deciding whether they're in or out obviously is at the very end, and we had been in front of these people for an hour and done this demo. And so finally, like, that's the first sign that you're on your way out of there.
Yeah, this is an hour and 15 minutes cut down to 7 minutes. So
really makes you appreciate the editing process.
Yeah.
It's a
Guys, I don't. This is so
underappreciated
crazy.
art.
that's right.
So crazy that you can get millions in sales by nuking a notebook in a microwave. I'm not even sure I'm on the planet Earth. There's nobody in the world that would take paper and erase it when I could sell another one.
That doesn't
in
make
my
any
universe.
Can't you apply that? I can't let it go. Can't you apply that argument to anything you reuse, including a knife?
And in these 7 minutes, he's repeated himself at least 3 times. I think in person, he just said that 15 times to make sure that line gets in, and so that he was like the naysayer. He just has this role to play, right?
I want to give him some credit though, because I think that Shark Tank's a TV show, and he
Right.
plays a character on Shark Tank. We know some people that know him. I don't think he's really like that in real life. I think he just plays that character so well on TV. For whatever reason, he probably decided that he was out for whatever reason, and then he just put it together. He did his,
Here's
his
what I
evil
think
thing.
about how they think about these
Yeah.
deals, right? I think that they get paid something like each one gets paid $500,000 or $1 million per season. We know that they do it all in about a week or 4 days. They shoot a season. They wear the same clothes so that they can, if we're one day, someone else another day, they can move it and move the season around, etc. But then they've got like that money as play money that they may or may not like throw into these deals. They don't really care that much about these deals. It's about their personality development. It's about maybe going into politics later. It's about deal flow outside of the Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Because frankly, like, these are not necessarily the best startups that show up on Shark Tank. They're kind of interesting for television, but now these guys are popular, and now they have intense deal flow that they can select real deals from in off air.
Yeah, I
right?
wonder what the biggest deals each shark has ever had.
On the show or off?
Like for an exit.
I think Mark Cuban said no to Uber, I heard, because he invested in Travis's first company and it didn't do so well, and then he passed on the second. Can you imagine that?
I cannot imagine that. I wish someone asked me about it.
That's a dark force, an evil force I can't understand. I'm out.
It's ironic.
Ironic, yeah.
I
You
have
made
to
so much
say, I
money.
never ever would dream.
All right, Lori. Can we talk about Lori? She had an energy about her that was very welcoming. I mean, she really did. She put you at ease when she talked to you, even under these
Lovely.
circumstances. She was just so nice.
You just respect her as a human being. You know that that's how she carries herself in business, and that's part of why she's been like really successful, by being smart and just like really connected with people and good with people.
Yeah.
People she says yes to, people she says no to, people she needs things from, people who need things from her. Like, gotta respect her through.
She
and
did.
through.
I don't think she poked any fun at us. She always
No.
just asked us questions. She smiled at us and
She
respectful.
I don't think they aired her response, or maybe they will, but one of the reasons why she was out was she didn't see this selling well with like kids and mothers,
Right.
which she likes to, which is a lot of her sales audience.
Yeah.
But we've kind of proven through the years that that's a huge audience, and kids and mothers and all types, but like love the reusability. They love using it as a coloring book. They love using it for younger kids' schoolwork, etc.
Yeah. It's her sweet spot.
Yeah.
That anybody could reinvent a binder, a paper binder. I mean, like, a notebook is a
And
notebook.
by the way, you can
So-
buy in any state.
Kevin, we know
Yeah.
your objection. You've said it 15 times. You're interrupting Lori.
Stick it in a friggin' microwave. That's why I'm so disturbed.
I don't think the price is bad for what it is. You've proven the concept, but I don't like all the steps. I don't like.
Another odd argument. I mean, all the steps. It is a step to buy a new notebook. She was saying like,
Right.
oh, to reuse your notebook, you have to take a minute,
I don't
30
like-
seconds in your microwave. And I was like, but doesn't it take you longer to drive to a Staples and drive back? But still, I get it.
I got it because actually
Yeah.
what they didn't show in the demo was you do put it in there, you put the mug of water on there, cook it, watch it, make sure the logo turns white, turn it over, put it on there, do it again, watch it, take it out, it's good to go. That is a multi-step process. It shows up in instructions. It's it makes the demo hard if you don't cut it like they did. And so therefore I could see like, even though practically it's a better product than a regular notebook, I think what she was saying is like, this might be hard to demo on HSN or
Right.
QVC or wherever she likes to
Yeah,
demo.
good point. She was thinking
Yeah.
about the demo when she said it's all the steps.
Yep.
It's a valid point.
Like that I actually have to take a picture of each page, and then when I'm done I have to microwave it, put the water on it and all of that. I get how people might like it one time, tell their friends this or that, but then after a while I think it fizzles. So for that reason, I'm out.
One thing I can't help but think like overarching is how wrong they were about all these things.
I know.
Right? They're,
And actually, I didn't realize at the time how wrong they were. So, for example, Kevin saying they'll only want to buy one Rocketbook, and so you won't be able to resell them. I mean, how many times do we see social media posts and hear from customers, oh my God, I already have 5 Rocketbooks, but you just launched another, and I have to get it.
Yeah,
You know?
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or the steps to erase and reuse it and scan it and things like that. They weren't hang-ups for things.
They just weren't.
And our sales at the time, I think we said it earlier, we had sold 50, 60, 70,000 units, which was like an extraordinary amount.
Right, it's really big for a Shark
We've
Tank.
sold 7 million now.
They passed what you're saying. They passed on the Rocketbook wave, and they didn't know what was coming down the pike. What they cut out of here was we did show them a preview of a bunch of products that we had, right, coming down the pike. We didn't have any sales behind them because they weren't yet launched, right? And so I don't think that they put much weight into them. And they also edited to take out all of those. Remember the Rocketbook Ice?
Oh yeah, I still have one.
You still do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which sort of became the color in some ways.
I don't
right?
think we showed them the Rocketbook. Did we show them? No, we didn't show them the Rocketbook core.
But we had ideas for beacons basically at the time, rocket board, and I think it is to our credit because it was part of this multi-month preparation process that we knew that one of their hangups would be just the novelty of the microwave to erase notebook. We knew that they would say like, oh, this is just a gimmick, and so we wanted to have all these assets and a story around where we were going with the company. And I think again, they largely weren't buying it except for Cuban, who isn't out yet. I can't remember. Is he out? Does he go out? Don't ruin it for me.
Well, let's see. I think he's coming up next.
Well, Mark's still in.
Guys, just the microwave, isn't that what sells it, period, end of story?
No, absolutely not. That is a differentiator, but people are buying these and repurchasing them because of the Rocket system.
But where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Well, this is hard, right? Because we have two parts of our story: the digital part and the reusable / microwavable part. And he's trying to tell, like, he kind of thinks that it's a gimmick. So is the rest of the part, the digital part, does it have legs? Can that stand on its own? And we also believe that we had products built around the platform, right? But we had only proven that off of the microwavable one. So he can't tease that apart with any data at this point.
That's right, but I remember he asked, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He was asking us, like, off the cuff, really smart questions about our data. You can tell of all
retention
of
numbers,
all of them,
repurchase numbers.
He seemed like the most traditional venture capitalist, right? He just like dug right into it.
Yep.
And we talked to him for a lot.
And we anticipated somebody asking us some of these questions, and we knew, like, all right, well, this is a weak point of ours, but we're going to be totally straightforward with these people because we don't want an investor to invest not knowing, some of our current weaknesses and what we're working on.
Well, I think we're going to build this into a major brand, just like people thought, what could a Post-it note be? Well, now it takes up all of Staples.
She's not impressed.
We're going to be like the operating
Post-it
system.
note, all you're
So I gotta say, I mean, that was a dream at the time.
Yeah.
And I guess we don't have an entire aisle at Staples, but we are available in Staples, Walmart, Target, and we have a pretty big section.
I remember going on this show, practicing in front of Semyon Dukash, our one investor, and saying, we're gonna, and he said, what are you gonna do in sales? I said, I think we'll do about $5 million in sales. He said, nope, you're gonna say you're doing $10 million in sales, and here's how you do it. And we looked at each other like, are we gonna say that on live TV? And that's what we said.
Yeah.
And we exceeded it that year.
Yeah. That was your question.
That was my question.
I remember grilling you on that.
Yeah.
What are you guys gonna do for revenue? We're gonna do $10 million. Let me tell you how we're gonna do it.
Right. I think we did 11 or 12.
Yeah.
You have to do a stick on
The
food, right?
operating
And you
system
stick it on
for
something.
paper.
That is
That's a good line.
line.
Operating system for paper. He's heard it.
He's the only one who caught it. He's like, I get it. He's
gets
laughing
it.
at it, but he heard it.
Yep.
So it's good. Good. Nice pause on him laughing at us.
We gotta bring that back. Operating system for paper.
See, we both have fat heads.
I don't disagree.
Guys, I mean, I'm out. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See, when we were walking, wait a second. When we're walking out, what Cuban said, which was cool, because I think it was like putting wind behind our sails. He yelled back to us and he goes, "All right, guys, you got your commercial. Congratulations."
Yeah.
I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
And it was just like it buoyed me at the end.
Right, because that's the whole thing with Shark Tank, right?
Right.
Everyone wants to get on and get the press, get the traffic to their website and things like that. But
And
at
I
the
think
same
he was satisfied with
Yeah.
us. Like he liked how we presented. He didn't like the idea of investing in it, but he had fun with us. We
Yeah.
answered his questions straight up. He asked great questions.
Once again, we made good TV. That's
Yep.
important to them.
That was important to us,
and,
too.
and we tried,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so it's not like we were there just to get a commercial. Like we were trying to get an investment,
Yep.
at least from Mark Cuban anyway. So
Well, that saved us about $6 million.
But it's not always a fit, and that's quite all right. We're
This,
having a great.
do you remember?
Oh,
so you walk out
was
of
the
there,
worst.
this pressure chamber, hour and a half.
They put you in a golf cart
Yeah.
to bring you to this place.
And it's like when you go, you ever go to the movies when it's light out and you walk out and it's dark out? I remember we walked out of the studio. We were total zombies. And they're like, get in the golf cart, get in the golf cart.
Spotlight
and they just,
on you.
They just wheeled us. Yeah, they're filming us the whole time. We were just complete zombies. They bring us to another soundstage and they pop
ask
cameras
us
on us. They're like,
questions.
so how did it go?
And there were a few questions where I think we just didn't answer. We were just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were our brains were cooked. At
You
this
can
point.
see it in our eyes, man. Like we
Yeah.
were just totally smoked.
They did a good makeup job.
Great time,
I
and
got rid of the bags underneath my eyes.
sauce.
But I mean, hey, but what was great about this, you know, saved us maybe $6 million, 10% of the company, something like that. The other thing that was awesome about this is we were basically laughed off, and we came back with a chip on our shoulder.
We knew what some of the product hangups were, and we knew how to solve it. And so we launched what became the Core, Fusion, and Mini, the water to erase notebooks. And I think that was obviously a huge move in the history of Rocketbook. But the other thing that I think is equally as important is that this was sort of the culmination of people laughing at us.
Yeah.
Because before this, Joe, we had pitched venture capitalists, all kinds of other investors. We had pitched like large notebook companies. And people were laughing at us. And then we got laughed off of Shark Tank. And we had the biggest chip on our shoulder. And I think that drove rebellious marketing. And I'll tell you, that's a big part of why when we invented the Core and the water to erase notebook, and what the way that video opens is Joe and I parading with our rocket suits and sunglasses through a large office chain.
Might rhyme with Graples.
And just throwing books
Throwing
back on their shelf.
moleskins around,
Because
saying, "What is this? The book that Hemingway wrote in?
Yeah.
That's cool, I guess." And we got kicked out of that store. That's cool, I guess.
But I will say that helped build what became the Rocketbook brand
Yeah.
and our vibe. And
That's when we went full renegade.
Yeah, and I think that's what it has to happen. You kind of
Yeah.
have to hit. You kind of have to hit the bottom before you just say, "Screw it. We don't care about anything. Let's do this."
Yeah, we launched that a couple months before this episode aired, and that thing blew the doors off in sales, right? And so we were growing, and then bam, the Core came along, and then the episode aired. We had like another $1 million in inventory we put together because the episode was going to air. That weekend we really didn't see an appreciable difference in sales.
no.
I was bummed, but we were already on this growth trajectory thanks to what's now called the Rocketbook Core, and I gotta tell you, I gotta give you a lot of credit because the other thing that you thought of, which was brilliant, was we didn't know how this was gonna get edited. We didn't know they could have made us look like total buffoons, right? They had an hour and a half of footage to work with, but it looked okay. But we didn't know, so we put together that video on the beach. That was our retort to the sharks, right?
Remember when they laughed us off Shark Tank? Yeah. I think that was right before the Rocketbook Wave became the #1 selling notebook on Amazon.
And all of my friends have come back to me and said, I watch that thing over and over and I get a laugh all the time. You know? It's brilliant.
Yeah, quick funny story about that. Joe was at a viewing party, and all my friends and family were watching it. I just wanted to get away from it, and the only place I could think to go that would get me away from my phone and TVs was a casino. So while this was airing, I was playing blackjack with my friend Brad down at Mohegan Sun. This is crazy. And I'm sitting there, because you can't have phones at the tables. I'm like just, having a drink. I'm playing blackjack. Mine's off of it. But they have TVs in casinos because normally they're showing games and things like that. And they had like a game on. And I was sitting there playing blackjack. Totally forgot about it. My friend Brad goes, "You got to be kidding me." And I look up, and Shark Tank is on the TV.
Up.
So I was there in front of a TV. And
Did you see yourself?
I
saw yourself?
I could see it out of the corner of my eye. They didn't have the volume up, but I was just like, "You gotta be kidding me." So it backfired, but
It's awesome.
yeah.